Atlanta was okay. Like, as a state, Georgia is a disaster. But there are good, let's start a Shake the Box commune in Massachusetts. Yes! A commune is no joke, like, my childhood dream. Like, I do the best I can. Like, I have a house with, like, a bunch of us in it, and that makes me happy. But, like, I want a block. I want a cul-de-sac with every house in that cul-de-sac, like, just cool, fun people that all like each other. And we could have, like, block parties and barbecues. Be awesome. Slowly buy the houses and the land the houses are on, and then just, like, make one giant ring-shaped house that is all the houses linked together. So when you drive into the cul-de-sac, it's just a giant horseshoe of houses that are all combined into one super house. Depending on the time of day, Gomper, yes. If there are children outside, you won't be allowed to do that then. No kids in the commune. I'll eat them. What's the point, then? Okay. Thank you, big old elevator. Appreciate it. Oh, we're way up high, aren't we? We're taking the hobbits to Isengard! Isengard! God. Are these ghost trees? Why are there ghost trees up here? Oh, this is pretty. This is real pretty. I like this. I knew I would like it up here. I know Tom said that this is where the game goes from, like, if you're experienced with the Souls franchise, not that difficult, to, like, hard place. Make a sweet treehouse in there. We're about the same point? Nice. Oh, that's really nice. Look at that. The skybox is always a delight to see, like, how it changes. Ooh, look at that moon. This is the first good idea you had in your life, Gomper. I could probably survive that fall. Let's go! Oh, you need to watch it. See, again, I'm gonna defend it. I like dropping your wallet when you die. I think it's a very fun way to build tension naturally in the game. It really, like, amps up the risk reward for how long do I want to explore before I reset the enemies in the level. Because, like, if you keep going, you'll eventually kill everything out there, and there's nothing left that's dangerous. But, like, the longer you go, the bigger the wallet gets, and the more dangerous it is that when you do die, you'll have a dangerous trip forward. So, like, resting is a risk, but it's also a reward. I really like that interplay between the game's natural system and the player. And there's no right way to do it. Like, you could choose how to approach that particular situation. The map is real close. I want the map. I want it. I want the map. There's the map. I want it. Yeah, rushing is a dangerous thing to do. Are these ghosts? I have so many questions. Why are there ghost deer? Why are there ghost trees? Does everything have a ghost? Yes, my favorite thing that they added... Because, like, the other games in the franchise, I think, have fantastic music, but the music only ever kicks in for boss fights, you know? we still got map to find. Having some music for the overworld really gives like a sense of personality, I want to say, to like each of these areas. Like certain areas have like mournful, sad music. Other places have this kind of frenetic, almost like disturbed soundtrack where you're like, oh, something's wrong with this place. So when you want quiet, you can have it. That's fair. Yeah, the ambient exploration music I'm all about now. You don't understand the minds of Souls-like players? I mean, honestly, like, if you understand the appeal of playing... Like, Zelda's almost a comparison point that I want to bring this to. Like, it's basically an action RPG akin to Zelda, but with a lot more emphasis on, like, character creation and how you build your character out. Obviously, Zelda's not about that. I can explain the lack of streamline for you and why that is appealing. Whoa! How are you here? You're a dead man. What are you doing here?
Finally, we meet.
Are you not Europe?
Who would be Lord? Oh my. Why the long face? I fear that you were previously acquainted with this vessel. Well,
Ooh.
That is most unfortunate. For he is dead. As for his flesh, he gave it to me. Shabriri, I hope you can make your peace with that.
He's a scary boy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is, in fact. I have a few questions about how... Oh, I don't have any Shabriri grapes to look at. Like... He's the Lord of Frenzy Flame, right? Like, this is the, like, worldly avatar, or at least, like, the chosen... Like, he's the very important man of the Three Fingers, right? Like, the first person. Like, he's... What is going on with my shadows in this place? This wasn't a problem before. I got a lot of weird triangles popping out.
You were about to sacrifice something precious. The life of a fair maiden. That you would toss into the fiery forge. Only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice. Whether she wishes it or not. But how would the Lord, crowned so, be looked upon?
You don't know what I'm gonna do.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be Lord. Dare to tread the path of true rigor. Spare the poor girl. And singe your own flesh in her stead. If you are prepared to show...
Oh yeah, I remember Bonfire Talks are a thing.
And attain lordship through righteous hardship.
I have to check and see if there's a conversation with that one.
Shabriri. Chosen, tarnished, descend into the depths far below the Erdtree capital. Seek audience with the Three Fingers and the...
Well, of course you would espouse that one.
If you inherit the flame of frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may Chaos take the world. May chaos take the world.
What's really fun for me is I was playing in a game of I'm gonna forget the name of it now, of course. Shit. What's the name of that system? RuneQuest. Playing a RuneQuest game. And my character is right there. Like, my character's whole thing in that game is that the world is unfair when it's ordered. Because once it's ordered, people put themselves in positions of power and exploit those below them. Chaos is the only way for true equality to exist in this world. And so, like, my character is essentially like, chaos will set us all free and make the world equal. Burn it all down! And it's very funny to me to have this character basically talking like my character in that game.
And would-be Lord descend into Sigordian.
Because you can only use the physic once, right? Hey, how you doing?
There is something I'd like to say. My purpose was given to me by my mother, but now I act of my own volition. I have set my heart upon the world that I would have, regardless of my mother's designs. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of that, not even you.
I'm not gonna speak ill of it.
Shall I turn? Let my hand rest.
Oh, no, I don't have enough. I'm sorry. This is awkward. I swear this happens to everybody, alright? It never happened to me before. I'm sorry. Awkward. Awkward. I didn't have enough roots. Having a baby? Yeah, I bet that adds a lot of inhibition. Like, overall, the reason why this and the other games these folk make are as beloved by the people that love them as they are is because they do things as differently as they do. Like, if I wanted to play a game that is smooth, lacks all the friction, like, I could play a fucking Ubisoft game. Like, I could play Far Cry. I could play games that are built so that I never feel like I don't know exactly what I'm doing at any given point in time. That's like the default, you know? Most games offer that kind of experience. These games are a refuge from that. They're these strange, mysterious things that invite you in with no judgment. They don't punish you for coming on in. You'll die, but, like, you'll get better, and the game will make you get better. It'll help you get better. And by the end of it, like, it's super satisfying. You found all these things on your own. Your playthrough feels like it's your experience, your playthrough. It doesn't feel like... When I talk to other people about my experiences with these games, they always feel different. When I talk about playing other games, it's like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, yeah, it's fun. And, like, we could enjoy those games together and have a good conversation about them, but there's something fundamentally different about this experience that feels a lot more magical, almost. Like, it really brings back that sense of wonder and excitement that I had when I played games as a kid, where I didn't quite fully understand mechanics and how things work. Alien's fine. We can go with the word alien. It feels a little bit more alien, which makes it feel a lot more exciting. Like, again, I'm always wanting to recapture the feeling I had as a kid when I would play games and they would blow me away with wonderment. Where I'm just like, wow! Because those games, you know, if you didn't read the manual, and I never had the manual, because if it's a game that my father bought before I was old enough to understand what a video game was, those manuals were in the trash years ago. So it was always like a weird, wondrous experience to play older video games as a kid. And then, like, growing up, a lot of that goes away, especially as video games matured. Like, a lot more games would have just boring-ass tutorials to explain everything about the game to you, and that stole a lot of that magic from me. And then these games showed up, and, like, they really recaptured that moment, that feeling for me of, like, wow, what is going on? This is amazing. And then by the end, you know, you have ideas about what was going on story-wise. You definitely understand how the game plays now. And so you can replay it and understand a little bit more about that story and make little personal theories about what's going on and how it all came together. It's a magical experience. Like, I wish this was more common in video games. You remember playing Myst with your dad back in the day? The one thing I've noticed about this game is compared to maybe other Souls games I've seen played, this game, death doesn't feel like a punishment. It feels like a lesson. I would say that's usually the course for stuff like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3. Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2 are a little bit less like lessons and more like punishments. But also, those were... I mean, one of them was literally the first one, and was a project that was midway through development when it got picked up and turned around. This game looks a lot easier than pretty much any of the other Souls-likes. This one's a lot more accessible. Like, there's a lot more variety to how to challenge... Or, sorry, tackle challenges. Oh, you got a pretty little flow to your attacks. Oh, yeah. There's definitely a little bit of a jump in difficulty now. If this is our first standard mob. Oh, you got frost! No, wait, I wanted you to walk forward! Please, no. Alright, no rolling backwards for you guys. Alright, come and get me. Oh, no! Alright, you're a side-to-side roll. Understood. I mean, they have the flowy moveset, which are always difficult to pin down, you know? Walk forward! Why are you smart? All the other enemies are stupid. That's it, it's time to solve this problem like a man. By casting magic at it. Oh. I'm gonna tell my wife. Then you'll be sorry. She's in charge of space. I wasn't sure whose death that sound was for, but it was for her. I'm safe. Woof. Okay, we gotta approach these people a lot more carefully. It's way more exciting when you almost die, but don't. Yeah, having read reviews from first-time players, they can get very frustrated and stuck on difficult moments. But it sounds like a lot of them aren't doing what an open world really naturally invites you to do, which is when you find a hard part, walk away. Put a mark on your map, come back later. Oh. Oh, majestic. Beautiful animals. Oh, God! Why? You're gonna make me re-equip my gravity spells, aren't you? Stand still and fight me like a man! Whew. Catch up on chat here. Blooded Vorn teaches you, right? Yes, because you're not locked on a path, exactly. Oh man, I nearly saved that. Is the moment you stop flying for the day. I also chose easy mode for his first play. I will never not pick Wizard, alright? Wizard is what I want to be in real life, so if a video game offers me the chance to be a wizard, I'm always going to be a wizard. If that makes the game harder, so be it. If it makes it easier, that's fine too. What's important is the wizard part. I cannot be more clear on that. Being a wizard is the most important part. Everything else is secondary. Yeah, that's the fun part. You never know when you pick up a new FromSoft game whether or not Wizard's going to be harder or easier than any other experience. Like Demon Souls, Wizard is easy goo goo gaga baby mode. Dark Souls 1, Wizard got nerfed real hard, but it wasn't that... Like, I didn't make it harder or easier. I'd say that was pretty, even Stevens. Most experiences. Stars, obey my commands! I just love snowy areas. People aren't kind when critiques of this game are involved. As in, they are mean with their critiques, or that people are like, how dare you critique this game? Both! I feel like that's pretty much par for the course in video games. Anytime you have an audience that likes something a lot and you voice a criticism, people blow up. Like, I'm accepting of criticism for this game. I don't often agree because a lot of the criticism usually is more personal taste, personal preference. I'm sorry, are you a ghost bird? Ghost bird. Alright. I see one of those scary ladies down there. The ghost animals. I keep seeing them and I have a momentary spike in adrenaline. I'm like, oh god. Oh no, it's just an animal. You've learned to respect that people flat out love this game, even if you don't get it. I mean, that's been true. You're always gonna find that in life. It's weird to argue with people when they just say, I just didn't have fun. Yeah, I usually say that these games are not for everybody. But that's true for a lot of things. Like Hollow Knight. People love Hollow Knight. It's like, for some people, the gold standard in video game. And I don't like Hollow Knight very much. Like, I think it's pretty, I like the music and the character designs, but I don't think it's very fun to play. Someone's grown to hate open world games. You appreciate that Elden Ring doesn't follow the formula? Yes, I really like this open worlds. Like, I like a lot of games that are open worlds, and I just don't appreciate most of what's going on in their open worlds. A great example of that, like Ghostwire Tokyo. That game, I'm enjoying it. I think it's super fun and pretty. But, like, the missions that aren't primary story missions are boring. They just are. Like, they don't feel impactful or, like, fun and story-based. You know what? You get one of these. Dodge that. See, I think the question, Gomper, is what does accessible mean for certain situations? Like, a game like this, you could have some people argue that it's inaccessible because it's obscure. Like, the game doesn't tell you what's happening or why things are happening. But I wouldn't say that's it being inaccessible. That's kind of the point. Like, these are supposed to be... You, an outsider with no knowledge of this world, is suddenly plopped into a situation and told, like, alright, go on. You've been chosen by divine will. What's the divine will want? Don't ask that question. It's a divine will. How dare you ask questions of gods? Like, this kind of reminds me of, like, Greek mythology almost, where it's like a person is chosen by a divine will to do a thing. Like, they don't know what to do outside of just one simple command. And thus the Odyssey happens. And, like, the Odyssey is that journey of discovery and finding out. Like, that is part of the experience. Changing that doesn't make it more accessible, it changes the fundamental game. Whereas, a change was made in this game, right? When the game first came out, the map didn't tell you where NPCs were. That was not on the map whatsoever. You either had to mark your map or you had to remember where they were. An update happened that added markers for where the NPCs are. That increased accessibility without taking away from the experience, you know what I mean? Helping a player warm up to difficulty is better. Oh, I have to go back and look. Making a game easier is a bad instinct for wanting to make a game accessible. Helping a player warm up. Yeah, I think this game does a great job of that. Does a very good job of that, I would say. One of the games... That was Miyazaki. Miyazaki feels bad. Jakaboy, how's it going? We're discussing accessibility and what that means for a game like Elden Ring. Oh, I can't craft more arrows. I gotta be a little bit more picky with some of these casts now. Like, I'd be curious what part of Elden Ring you find inaccessible at the moment. Because I find they did a good job increasing accessibility quite a deal from the earlier games. How incomprehensible everything is. You see, you need to be a little bit more clear on what everything means in that sentence. But I would argue that fundamentally, the obscurity is part of the design. Like, that is inherent to the experience. Narrow it down to world building. Alright. There is an explanation option in the menus, which I never have to use. Who am I and why it matters to me? I mean, the opening cinematic explains that you were a Tarnished who got randomly selected. No! Where'd it go? That's bizarre. It disappeared. I know who I am, but I was never given a reason to care. I mean, that reason happens as you play the game, you know? You discover more information. Again, I would argue that's not accessibility. I would say that's more... you. Breath of the Wild gave me a reason to care and kept trying to give me more reasons not to, which created friction. Like, if you have trouble connecting with your avatar, I don't think that's accessibility. Like, when you sit down and play an older RPG, like just old, weird, here's like Dungeons & Dragons on the NES, like, they don't tell you anything about your character. Your character's a blank slate. You make it up in your imagination. Just like you do when you play all kinds of games. Your imagination's important. They give you the hook, and you design the rest in your imagination. Yeah, I would say approachability, not accessibility, is what you're talking about. Hold on, I gotta do the thing that is, again, almost certainly a placebo, but seems to work. As long as I keep believing it, we're gonna be okay. Waiting for NVIDIA control panel. Alright, it's popping up. Giving you a play-by-play so you know exactly what's happening on my end. Waiting for it to load my custom game settings. It is loaded, selecting Elden Ring. Changing one random aspect of that in the 3D settings for virtual reality. Hitting apply, which again would have no bearings on this game at all. Waiting for it to process. Closing that, clicking on the game, letting it hang for 1 second. And in theory, we'll be okay now. Here's a way to look at it, Gomper. Accessibility would be someone sitting down and being able to figure out how to jump in a game. Like, that's a basic thing that's required for someone to play the game. That's accessibility. They're able to access the game and play it. Approachability would be someone turns on the game and sees that the main character's wearing a pink hat and hates pink hats, and therefore they just can't get into the game. The character being a blank slate doesn't prevent someone from physically, mechanically accessing the game, but it could limit their ability to approach the game because of personal tastes. Yeah, if you turn on a game like The Witcher 3 and you dislike the protagonist, that's unapproachable for you. But, mechanically, you probably understand how to make The Witcher swing a sword, which would be accessibility. An accessibility issue with this game could be it needs better audio cues rather than relying almost entirely on visual ones for fights. I find there are decent audio cues in here, but I haven't been everywhere yet, so there could be situations where that is a problem. Like something about Hollow Knight that turned me off on the game that could be seen as accessibility is there are enemies that pop out of the floor that don't have an audio cue or a visual cue. They just hurt you when they pop out of the floor. And like that pissed me off and made the game less fun. And there's nothing I could do as a player to like learn and grow from that. It became inaccessible because of that. Ooh. I thought I would have to go into a scary tunnel to get one of those. I'm glad we have another one of those. Wait, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 and 6 right there, I bet. Level 5 and 6 for smithing stones. Unfortunately, I need 7 and 8 is where I'm kind of running low on stock now. Yeah, I think a good distinction for those two is it personal taste, or is it something that could actually mechanically hinder you from playing the game? Like, difficulty can be argued is an accessibility issue. Which is why there are some people who are like, I could never play Bloodborne, the game is too hard. And broadly, I agree. I mean, I don't find it hard personally, but that's me. Like, I don't think it's hard. But for someone that, like, has worse motor functions or just isn't used to playing hard games, that's an inaccessible game. This is a game that has accessibility options for that. You can summon phantoms to help you. Like, there's a lot of options to solve problems now. It makes the game more accessible, despite the difficulty. Ooh, Ice Storm! Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, it depends on the reason for the difficulty. Like, these games, the FromSoft games, have always been... Oh, Jesus, there's so many of these scary things here. To this day, you still hate the PC port for Dark Souls 1? It is pretty trash. It's like a bad port. Like, this game, I've always felt... Or this game. These games, the FromSoft library, I've always felt are really good at teaching you in the same way that Mega Man X teaches you. Like, it doesn't just write out how to overcome situations. It puts you in minor versions of a situation, then escalates those into major versions of those situations. Until eventually you're like, you understand. You know an enemy's moveset. You understand their timing. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna fucking die, but you'll eventually get better at it. This game just smooths that curve out. The open world nature, the options you have, they all make those situations a lot less frictional, a lot smoother. I think I've already gone through there, right? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, oh, that's a later part. Okay. I'm like, wait. I've been in this ruin, but what about this ruin? Oh, yeah, that's way up there. An inaccessible game, Crusader Kings. Crusader Kings, I have tried to learn how to play that game several times. I still don't know how to play that game. And I'm convinced I never will know how to play that game. Did this map literally just show me, like, just a little tiny sliver of accessible land? Damn it, now the word accessible is just popping out of me over and over again. Like, I really enjoy watching other people play Crusader Kings because I just can't do it. I can't get in there. That game is impossible. Monolithic in its weird, hard to understand mechanics. Yeah, the map gave me one shitty road. This is like, you found a map of Long Island. Alright, let me open that bad boy up. And it's just the LIE. You just see the LIE. And maybe a little bit of, fucking Sunrise Highway. That's a joke just for Gomper. You're welcome, Gomper. Enjoy that one joke for you. Unless someone else here is familiar with the roads of Long Island. I feel like the difficulty in this game can be accessibility, but the thing people seem to focus on when talking about it is the approachability. Yes, that's like what this whole conversation's been about. If a fight is difficult because you're slow processing visual information, there are no distinct audio cues, that's accessibility. But needing to take time to learn the fight in general is more approachability. Agreed. Like, I liken this kind of game to Mega Man. Like, Mega Man is a hard game, but if you take the time, you learn the patterns. I was saying I got a map in this game, but it just showed me one shitty road, and I was like, yeah, that's like getting a map of Long Island, but it's just the LIE and parts of Sunrise Highway. Not a very useful goddamn map. How do I get up there? That seems like where I need to go next. Trying to play Stellaris as a newbie without a friend to show you what everything is? Yeah. Yeah, like, again, no one wants you to try and like this game, Gomper. We'll explain to you why we like it. But that little conversation we just had was largely like... The word accessible, I think, was inappropriate for the conversation, whereas the other one, approachable, was much more on point. Real teamwork there. It all came together through multiple people talking about it. But we've had a conversation about, like, protagonists that are defined for you and protagonists that are blank slates. And, like, I almost always prefer blank slates. Like, I can make up my own backstory for this character in my head and give him a personality that's all in my head. I'm not gonna roleplay it out loud for all y'all, but in my head I have a nice little time with it. The world in front of them. You see, that's the part I find most exciting. It's all about discovery. Like, it's being dropped into a world that you don't know, and you get to discover that. That's the most exciting thing to me. Like, I enjoyed games like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, but ultimately I always never felt they were very magical, because the game would go out of its way to be like, this is exactly why everything is. This game, you get to enjoy the fact that characters will lie to you. And I love that. I love that characters will lie to you. Like, it's so funny to me that, like, you start this game and you don't know what's going on. And the first person you meet is Whiteface Vare, and he is going to tell you things that are in his interest, not your interest. They color how you start seeing the world when you first start playing. And later on, you're like, oh fuck, this guy represents, like, a blood cult of murderers. Like, he set me on the right path, but that's more of a coincidence than anything else. He kind of lied to me a little bit. They all seem hard to follow. I mean, I don't find that to be, again, what we're talking about is personal taste now, and, like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just find that hard to empathize with a little bit, just because, like, when you... For me, growing up, like, reading weird fucking fantasy books, you just end up with all these people that have weird goddamn names, like Puck the Sorcerer and Jimmy Fingers, Jimmy the Hand, and, like, You just kind of roll with it, you know? You get to know them as you read the story. In this game, too. You hear about the loathsome dung eater, and then you run into the loathsome dung eater, and you find out that this is a weird bastard man who wants to curse the world. His only goal is to, like, see this place ruined. He hates everybody because he had a shitty life, and he wants everyone to have a shitty life, too. Yeah, like growing up reading The Hobbit and reading Lord of the Rings, Tom Bombadil, singing his dumb songs, like, I never had problems with just jumping into a world of weird proper nouns. The fact that I watch a lot of weird anime helps too. Like, that's just... it is what it is. I'm all about just dunking myself headfirst into weird worlds. I love that kind of stuff. So I could never really understand not liking that. I can respect you don't like it, and on an intellectual level understand it, but I can never empathize with it. You picked up Return of the King and opened up To the Spot. The forces of Mordor breached the gates of the Minas Tirith, and how he made that so boring. I'm still unsure if I'm disappointed he's not literally a dung eater. What I like about names in this game, and again, part of it is I like that, much like old mythology, there are characters that have more than one name. I like the characters lie to you and give you wrong information. Like, I like that it's treated in a fun mythological sense. It makes it feel like I am participating in myth. But what I like about the Loathsome Dung Eater is that's not like a name he gave himself. People hated him so much because he's such a vile, awful person that people are like, God, that guy's a shit eater. And that became his name. And that, I love that. Like, I like that a lot. I've said it before, like, personal taste-wise, this game is custom-tailored for my tastes. It's real good. And I have, like, fairly broad taste. I like a lot of different kinds of games. So this game, custom-tailored to my taste. Noida, custom-tailored to my taste. I'm happy that I get to play so many games that are just like what I want out of a game. Yeah, Noida's amazing. Love Noida. Yeah, like it feels like I am participating in a myth. My character is some jackass who got picked randomly by the gods, hurled into the land of the gods, literally just chucked in to the worlds between. And I'm not even like their first pick. Like, I'm the last pick. Like, we have all these larger-than-life characters that already are mythologued in this world. Like, Sir Gideon, the all-knowing! Like, that son of a bitch has a legacy. He's already known by people. I'm just some random jackass. Like, we're underneath the Loathsome Dung Eater. We're underneath this piece of literal human garbage. And he got picked just because he's strong. Like, he might be able to make a dent in the problem. The Greater Will, a god who's abandoned this world, basically just sprinkled garbage powder into the world and was like, just drag people in. Maybe they could solve the problem for me. Like, completely blind and dumb to their motivations and desires. It just literally sent out random feelers, like a blind idiot god, to try and fix the problem of this world. So much like a random mortal chosen by Zeus to do a thing, we just have to figure it out on our own. I think that's incredible. You don't get to experience that kind of story in a lot of video games. Like, I really like Judgment. You know I love Judgment. I absolutely adore Judgment. But Judgment gives me a character who has a pre-established backstory, has a pre-established disposition to situations in the world, and puts me in a very, like, focused storyline. And I like that too. I really like it a lot. But that's the kind of experience I get to have literally every time a video game comes out. That's the standard experience. So this is just a magical time for me. I'm going to, like, really drag it out and, like... I've been playing this one character for like 100 hours. 100 hours, 6 minutes. Sorry, 106 hours I've been playing this one character. Just wandering around, taking it in. Look, the two fingers looks like a ring and a pinky. The hand of what? I want to know about the hands. The fingers. Especially because there's corpses of previous fingers. There's a lot of questions in this game, and I like that I don't have answers. Like, that's part of the appeal for me. Alright, most of you seem pretty, not threatening, but Mr. has a cauldron on his head. You get the beam! Holy hell, that was a full charge of beam. I should have done the potion. That's the other thing I like about these games, is because they are so inscrutable and aren't tailored to give you easy answers, it becomes a community experience. Oh, no, 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 I changed my mind, I want to cast it. Like, we all hang out and chat and, like, figure things out together. That is amazing to me, I love that. And then there's the larger communities out in the worlds where they're all trying to piece together how things work and what stories are happening. I love that experience. That was part of what was fun about Noida too, was like, just people trying to figure out, like, what's this thing do? What's this do? Oh, you bastard, fine. You like fire so much? Chill out. I don't know why I really want to make beam happen all the time. There's way better tools for all these situations. But beam. Chill out. Oh, God. Excuse me. Why don't you chill out? Put the cookie down! Don't you eat my cookie! It's been a while since I've done Arnold's voice. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Hold on, I'm staring at my wizard stick trying to figure out why it won't do wizard. There we go. So here, for everyone talking about lore in this game, what I think I like the most about the lore in this game is we are showing up at this point in the storyline where everyone's talking about who they think are essentially the foundational gods, you know? Like, we have Godwin, and we have, fucking Marika. But there's also outer gods, there's the greater will, there's the fingers, and then there are things that appear to be older than any of those things. Like, we're learning about a cosmology that is built on top of another cosmology is what I think might be going on. Which is why Goldmask is flipping out. Like, he's freaking out about the name... Was it Radagon? Radagon? Oh, this is a fun walkway. I like this. Look at this. Well, that's a big boy on a bridge. Of course, we're gonna have someone shooting arrows at me while I try and cross this bad boy. I know, this is a gorgeous scene right here. Oh, right, I have a new painting I'm supposed to figure out. We'll go back and do that soon. When I get across this bridge. I'm sure that giant won't shoot me with an arrow as I try and cross this narrow, dangerous, slick with ice. Oh my god, almost died already. Oh god, I would love to see the concept art. Like I said, I do want to slowly collect all the various art books for Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and this. Because there's some really nice art books out there for these games. Oh! Oh, Torrent! Torrent, please! Torrent! We can still turn this around, Torrent! Oh, I forgot about the catacomb. I don't want Vadi's Soul Arts book. I want the properly put together by the From Software team, their concept art and design documents. That's what I'm after. Fan art's nice and all. Like, don't get me wrong, if you buy that book, that's still gonna be a good book. But that is not the itch I'm looking to scratch. Because of money. Alright, we have two problems. One is I want to go to this catacomb, which I need to figure out precisely where it is. No, no! Oh my god! Oh my god. You almost sent me right off the edge. Been a while since you've seen a proper game design document. You feel like a lot of people don't really work that way anymore? I wonder. I know Japanese development can be a little bit more loosey-goosey, especially while I've been doing my research for various remasterpiece theaters. Like, often mechanics come first and then they figure out what the game is about afterwards. Other times they have a story and then they figure out what the mechanics should be based on the story. They can really just go in either direction for their games. Yeah, I figure it's down this way. Since there's land down there. Like, Final Fantasy VII was originally going to take place in 1999 New York City. And then... and then they're like, nah. But what do we do with all this stuff we worked on that takes place in New York City? Parasite Eve, baby. The development philosophy is really the issue. I know there's definitely a lot of difference between an Eastern and Western philosophy for game design. Let's just grab this and then go get my souls. An expansive design document lends itself to waterfall development. I mean, you want to develop a waterfall, I can help you out with that. There's a lot of fun camera tricks to make a waterfall. Sugar in front of a black screen and then key out the black makes a really decent looking waterfall. In my seminal student film, Jeff Jones and the Temple of Cliches, I filmed Sugar falling down a black screen to make the waterfall. I used D20s as the rocks the sugar cascaded off of for the water splashing off the rocks. Wait for that to impact before we go back. Might as well do that catacomb since we're right there. Now I'm gonna ask you, please don't do any of that! Any of that! No, 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 no. Not while I'm crossing the bridge, please. Maniac Sui! I know I pronounced that perfectly. Welcome to the Shake the Box family. Thank you for that follow. We're very happy to have you here. Are you playing Elden Ring right now? Or are you popping in to see what it's all about?